All right, so God has been giving me some messages this afternoon. And one of them is coming through that somebody is having a really hard time with family. And it's like maybe you've had a fallout with a family member and you've blocked them or they blocked you, and you're not really, it's not that you want to reach out to them, but you know it's best for you to stay disconnected from their energy because they take from you energetically. And so it's better for you to stay in the place you're at. And even though it feels lonely at times, because sometimes when something happens and you want to pick up your phone and call them, it's time to realize that they're not aligned to you any longer. They're not in the same place as you are energetically. And then also I get this message that it's time for you to realize that you have ascended into a higher level of consciousness. And those around you may not understand you or see eye to eye with you any longer because you're kind of up here consciously and they're down here. They're still in the carbon matter type of energy on the 3D level. And you're up in the higher levels of consciousness. And it's really showing with your gifts. It's really showing with things like that. And you really stand out from the crowd when it comes to things. And it's time for you to know that God is by your side no matter what. And you can look to him for understanding and confirmation on things. You don't have to feel so alone. You don't have to get validation from real human people when God is by your side. He gives you that confirmation and validation in its own. It's like less ego and more spiritual behavior, because where you're consciously at, that's the ego can't reside there. Okay. So just realize you're on the right path, even though this path feels lonely and sometimes you don't understand it. Just realize it's time for you to go through your transformation and evolve. That's what we're here to do, is to evolve, not go backwards. And in order to reach the freedom financially and emotionally and physically is to ascend. That's our whole goal in this world, especially on our spiritual journeys, is to ascend to a higher level of consciousness. And once you achieve that, you have ultimate freedom. And, it's going to allow for you to start creating more. It's going to allow for you to see things in a different perspective. It's going to really enlighten your perspective on life in general. Okay. Having awareness is also something that's important. Being aware of the surroundings and those around you that could be bringing your vibration down because you are very empathic is another thing that you need to keep in mind. Because as your gifts grow, you need to be very thought responsive about how you project yourself to the world. And even though people don't understand you, their thoughts can really give you the evil eye. And, you need to have that armor of God on you to reflect it. Not that you're sending anything back to them, because what we do with judgment and projection of others is to send love to them, and hopefully that one day they will have understanding. So when you're prospering and they see this, they know you're doing something right. They may not agree with how you're doing it, but they know that you're doing something correctly. They know that consciously you're at a different level than they are. And it really irritates their soul that you are. But when you send love, it might soften the situation and make it less judgmental for you to feel that energy, that projected energy off of you, per se, I guess is what you would say. I feel like where some of you are getting, you're feeling a sigh of relief, because it's like it's nice to be able to not constantly struggle in a conscious way or feel alone. it's like you're really feeling God's energy around you, and you're emotionally fulfilled in a lot of ways, so you don't lack and don't need necessarily that person to be right by you to fill that void, and so that's another thing that I'm seeing. And with healing and grief, it's really sad when we lose people. I understand, you could be really close to your grandmother, really close to your mother or father or aunt or uncle, whoever it might be to you. When we lose that person, we don't realize that their energy still lingers around you, because they kind of go into a spiritual realm, but they're in the in-between of going into the light and, still reflecting on their life. And so some decide to stay back and wait for family members to come through as well when their time is done. So I'm feeling like, for some of you that have recently lost somebody you were really close to, understand that they're still there with you in spirit. And I know it's not the same. And you'll always long for that connection of being able to communicate with them. But they'll give you signs. They little signs, whether it be like a bird, that you guys, had connected with or something, or, maybe going to like where you used to visit like each other at, like going out and, or kind of reminiscing. You can just have that conversation that you used to have with them, with God, and that they're there listening, and God will give you that comfort to feel a little better about what is going on, because everybody has a mission in this life, and once it's complete, usually you pass on. And sometimes we don't understand why they're younger and not in an elderly position, or they were elderly and it was just their time to go, but we really miss them and cling to them. And remember, God says to not cling to anyone or anything, because we will see them again one day. But attachment is always a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? So don't find yourself so attached to something that when you lose it, you're completely broken and you have to start over again. And, some of you don't even realize the protection that you have around you right now through your dark night of the soul or healing journey. Because I'm going to tell you, it isn't easy, but you have major protection around you. God sends his armor to protect you through this battle that you're going through up against the devil. Because every moment that you raise your vibration, the devil's trying to pull you back down. So remember, you alone can achieve this with God. You don't need actual physical people in your life to achieve this. And I also have heard today, financial freedom is around the corner for those that have been really stressing about life-changing job, like going to a different line of work, or, branching out and starting your own business. You're going to start to see that increase. Don't stress about it. It is here. It's within reach. Okay. If you bent over, you would bump your head into it. That's how close it is to you. Okay. So just realize it's coming. That prosperity and growth is coming, which is going to allow you to create and be more creative in what you do. And, Jesus always said his 2 rules was to not lie and don't do what you hate. So if you're in some job that is a dead end and you're feeling miserable every time you come home, there is no way to raise your vibration and continue to do that line of work, because you're not aligned to it any longer. So don't cling to a job either. Don't cling to anything. Don't feel attached or that you can't get away from that because it's your only means of income. Because Jesus and God will show you the way to righteously raise your vibration, but not only that, to raise your path and bring that flow of law of attraction into your life if you're not resisting against it. So those were the messages that came through. I wanted to kind of reach out to you guys and give y'all some channeled messages today. I know people are like, you're on a roll today, you need to slow down. Well, you know, when these messages come through, I can't. It's necessary to reach you guys with this information, and I find it so very much important. But I will talk to you guys later, and I hope you have a good day.